Hello everyone. So, in the lecture series of satellite communication and networking, we are going to start with the new unit today, that is unit 3, that is the geostationary orbit. Right? In the last session we have completed our second unit, that is orbit and its launching methods, and now we will see in unit 3, that is the geostationary orbits. So today is the lecture 8 on introduction and antenna loop angles, right, in the unit geostationary orbit. Now, topics to be covered in the following session, that is introduction, height of geostationary orbit, and antenna loop angles. Right? Now, starting with the introduction. So, first of all, what is geostationary orbit? So, as we have discussed in chapter 2 in types of orbits, that geostationary, why it is named as geostationary. So, a satellite that appears stationary with respect to Earth and is hence named geostationary, right? So with respect to Earth, it is appeared as a stationary. That means the speed of the Earth rotation as well as the speed of satellite, that is both are same, right? So to appear stationary, these satellites have to fulfill three conditions. Which three conditions they have to fulfill? The first, it must travel eastward at the same rotational speed as that of Earth, right? So the first and most important to be a geostationary, that is the rotational speed of Earth should be same as the rotational speed of geostationary satellite. Second, the inclination orbit must be zero, right? So the inclination angle of the orbit must be zero. So it cannot move forward to the north-south direction. And third, the orbit must be circular. Now these three conditions which we have to fulfill, what is the reason behind that, we will see one by one, right? So first reason, that is if the satellite has to appear stationary, then it has to move at the same speed of the Earth, right? So if we want to see a satellite from any point of the Earth, it will appear as a stationary part as it is moving with the same rotational speed of Earth. Now, second, constant speed means it is following the Kepler's law, that is equals area must be swept out at equal intervals of time, and this could be only achieved by using a circular orbit. So for this, the third condition must be fulfilled, that is the orbit must be circular, right? And last, that is second, that is the inclination of orbit must be zero. Why it should be zero? So inclination must be zero, as having any inclination would lead the satellite to move from north south direction, right? And we know that for geostationary orbit, what is the limitations, that it does not covers the poles, right? So for the orbit to be a geostationary, we need to compulsory having the inclination should be zero. So it cannot move to the north-south direction, right? And orbit with zero inclination will lies on Earth's equatorial plane. Here, so these are the three reasons behind that to fulfill these three conditions for the satellite to be a geostationary, right? Now, actually the height of satellite, right, for the to lie in geostationary, that is exactly that is 35,786 kilometers, right? But for our convenience of calculations, in theoretical point of view, it is rounded up to 36,000 kilometers. So as we must say that the height of geostationary orbit is 36,000 kilometers from the Earth's surface, right? And we will going to prove how it is 36,000 kilometers from the Earth's surface in the next topic. Here, now there are various satellite networks, right, worldwide networks, which are used for meteorological operations in geostationary orbit, right? Which are the which is used to provide visible and infrared image of the Earth's surface and atmosphere. So these satellite includes, what are the different satellites? So first, the satellite comes under from the United States, that is named, that is GOES, right? Geostationary or geostationary orbit Earth satellite. Clear? Then second, that is Meteosat. The Meteosat stands for meteorological satellite, right? Which is launched by European Space Agency and operated by European Weather Satellite Organization, having a name, that is EUMETSAT, right? Then third, that is the Japanese satellite, which is MTSat. And last, that is our Indian satellite, that is INSAT, that is Indian Navigational Satellites series, right? There are various INSAT 1, INSAT 2, like that. There are various series of INSAT. So these all are operated at the geostationary orbit for the meteorological, or you can say for the weather department. Clear? Right? Now, next topic that we are going to discuss, that we will prove the height of geostationary orbit. Right? So for proving the height of geostationary orbit, what we will do is we will calculate once some example, right, based on Kepler's third law. Right? So what was the equation of Kepler's third law? So this is the equation of Kepler's third law, that is radius of orbit. Here it is the radius of geostationary, so it is written as AGSO. Right? So radius of orbit is equal to mu p divided by 4 pi square whole raised to 1 by 3. Right? So mu p square 4 by 4 pi square raised to 1 by 3. Right? So this is the formula where p stands for orbital period periodic time, and these all are the constants. Right? Now, what is the orbital period for this satellite? So as we have discussed in the first slide, that the rotational speed of Earth is same as rotational speed of geostation. So Earth will complete its rotation in 23 hours 56 minutes and 4 seconds. So same time we will taken for our geostationary orbit, that is orbital period p. Now this orbital period p will convert it into seconds and substitute over here. Right? So what it will be? So mu will have the value 3.98 into 10 raised to 14. Right? Now what about P? So P is 23 hours. So 23 hours convert into 4 seconds, that is 23 into 60 into 60 plus 56 minutes. So 53 6 into 60 and plus 4 seconds will be added in whole square. Here divide by 4 pi square. Pi square is nothing but 3.14. Clear? And raised to 1 by 3. So all these values substitute in your calci and you will get the value, that is 0.073 into 10 raised to 4 raised to 1 by 3. Right? So this is the radius of orbit. Here now if we'll take the cube root, right, so we will get radius of orbit, that is equal to 42164 kilometer. Right? Now this radius of orbit is calculated from where? So it is calculated from the center of Earth. Clear? Now if we want to find the geostationary height of geostationary orbit, right, from the Earth surface, what we need to do is we need to subtract radius of Earth from this radius of geostationary orbit. Right? So radius of Earth, that is constant, which is 6378 kilometers. So the height of geostationary orbit, which is HGSO, that is equal to height of radius of geostationary orbit, AGSO, minus radius of Earth, which is AE. So substitute these both values in this equation, you will get 35,786 kilometers. Clear? Right? So this is the proof of height of geostationary orbit. If it is asked in exam that prove that the height of geostationary orbit is 35,786 or approximately 36,000 kilometer, then you need to do this example and show it in the proof. Clear? Right? Okay. Now, then we are moving for our third topic, that is antenna look angles. Now, first of all, what is antenna look angles? So, there are basically two antenna look angles. First, that is azimuth angle, and second, that is elevation angle. Right? And if based on this antenna looks angle, there will be a numericals. So, you need to find out azimuth angle and elevation angles. Right? Now, why does the antenna look angles that is necessary? So if we talk about geostationary orbit, so if we plant an antenna on the Earth station, so it should be having a particular location, right, or particular height, right, to find that the satellite signals can be achieved easily. Right? Right? So what we need to do is we need to find two antenna look angles, that is azimuth angle and elevation angle. So the look angles for the ground station antenna are the azimuth angle and the elevation angle. They are required at the antenna so that it points directly to the satellite. So as I have told, why antenna look angles are required. So why it is required, so that it should be placed correctly, so that the satellite signals should be directly placed to that particular antenna, point out to that particular antenna. Loop angles are calculated by considering the elliptical orbit, right? These angles changes in order to track the satellite. But what is the advantages of geostationary satellite? Because it is not an elliptical orbit, it is a circular orbit, and the angles are fixed, right? So we can find out antenna loop angles for the geostationary satellite. Now, for geostationary orbit, these angles value does not change as the satellite is stationary with respect to Earth. Thus, large Earth stations are used for commercial communication, and for this, antenna beam width. Antenna beam width is nothing but what the radiation pattern of antenna is very narrow, right? And the tracking mechanism is required to compensate the movement of the satellite about the nominal geostationary position, right? So for the geostationary orbit, which is circular, so what will require? We will require a tracking mechanism in between, as the antenna is having a narrow bandwidth which cannot be tracked easily. Clear? Now, for home antennas, antenna bandwidth is quite broad, and hence no tracking is essential. Therefore, for receiving the satellite loop angles for our dish TV antenna, right, where our TV signals comes in between. So this leads to a fixed position for this antennas, and thus antenna loop angles can be carried out for that particular home antennas. Clear? Now, how it can be calculated, we will see the procedure one by one, right? So first of all, let us discuss what is the azimuth angle and what is the elevation angle. So first of all, what is azimuth angle? So it is denoted by az, right? So azimuth angle made by projected satellite path with respect to north. It is calculated in clockwise direction, right? So it is made by the projected satellite path with respect to north. So if with respect to north direction, what you need to do is you need to project the satellite path and calculate the azimuth angle in the clockwise direction. Then elevation angle, right? So the elevation angle is made by the satellite path with respect to local horizontal plane, which is our ground station. So from the ground station, at which height or at which angle the antenna should be placed, that the exact signals can be achieved, right? Now, the elevation angle determines the height of satellite from the horizontal plane, right? Now, as you can see in this figure, that this is the local vertical, right? And this is the north position, right? And this is the, as is the local vertical, this is the horizontal plane, right? Now, this is the satellite which is located actually over here. So what we are doing, we are projecting this satellite path into the north plane, that is local horizontal plane. And wherever it finds out, from this we will point out this line, and from clockwise direction, what it will do, we will find the azimuth angle from the north direction to that particular line, right? And that projected path and which satellite we have that, from that to the actual satellite path, that is your nothing but your elevation angle. Clear? So whenever it is said that to calculate antenna look angles, we need to calculate both these angles, that is azimuth angle and EL. So and finally what we have to do is, in numericals we have to find this azimuth angle AZ and which is an elevation angle EL. Right? Now we will see step by step how it can be calculated. So this is the figure, the geometry used in determining loop angles for geostationary satellite. Now, what is actually shown here? So this is Earth, right? Now, this is elliptical orbit, which is our equatorial plane. And this is actually the satellite, that is the point at which the satellite is rotating in a geostationary orbit. Now, what we will do is, we will project this satellite point into this north local horizontal plane, right? Which is called as SS, that is sub-satellite point, which is denoted by SS. Clear? Now, from this is north plane, right? And here it is a earth station from which we are having to find the antenna loop angles, right? So from the center of this to this is the radius of Earth, right? This is R. right? This is this angle made from this, that is lambda e, that is the latitude of earth, right? Clear, right? From earth station to satellite, this is the range d, that is satellite range d, right? And from sub satellite point to satellite, this is from earth surface to satellite, this is nothing but your height s, that is height of geostationary satellite. Clear, right? Now next, in this figure, what you see is this figure is used for determining loop angles. Now, this is also related to figure 1, which is a spherical geometry, right? So, what it has been done, this is in terms of angles. So, this is, let's say, this is Earth station. So, that will be a longitude of Earth station in east-west direction. This will be a latitude of Earth station lambda e, that is in northwest, north-south direction. Clear? Now this is the spherical geometry in which this is capital A, capital B and capital C. Right? What are the capital A, B and C? We will discuss in next slide. And in opposite to Z, this is capital A. So opposite to this, where B and C angles are from this small. Right? This is capital B. So opposite to this is small b. And this capital C where it is small c opposite to that. And this is the sub-satellite longitude, which is in the again east-west direction. Clear? Now, from this, we have drawn this plane triangle from this figure 1, this triangle. Clear? So, from this triangle, this is R, right? This is D, this D we have drawn, and this is H, and this is A, so it will be A plus H, which is nothing but AG also. Clear? So, this is angle B in between, right? Right, this is sigma, which is our tilt angle, which is 90 plus EL, and here is the satellite point. Clear? So from these three figures, we will derive the equations which is based on antenna loop angles. Now, with respect to figure 1 and 2, the following information is needed to determine the loop angles of geostationary orbit. So, what else will be given? So, first it will be given as the Earth station latitude, which is lambda e. Then Earth station longitude, which is denoted by phi e. Make sure that you make this denotation like this way only, right? Do not change the denotations. Clear? Sub-satellite point longitude, that is phi ss. Earth station position of satellite, then ss, that is sub-satellite point, then s, that is satellite, d, that is from range of Earth station to satellite, and zeta, that the angle to be determined. Clear? Now, consider the figure 3. It is a spherical triangle. All the arcs are of a great circle that we have seen, capital A, B and C and small a, B and C. So what are this? This we will discuss right now. So these three sides of triangle are defined by the angle subtended by the center of Earth. So first talk about the side A, side B and side C. So what is side A? So angle between North Pole and the radius of sub-satellite point, right? And side B, that is angle between the radius of Earth and radius of sub-satellite point. And side C, that is angle between the radius of Earth and the North Pole. Right? This you can relate with your figure 3. Clear? Now, how we can find that? The first of all, A, that will be equal to 90, and such a spherical is called a quadrantal triangle. So, what will be the C? C will be equal to 90 minus lambda, right? Now, next, angle capital B we need to find out. So, angle B will be the difference between the Earth station longitude and sub-satellite longitude. That is phi minus phi s. Clear? Then, angle A is between the plane containing angle B and angle C. And angle C is the angle between plane containing A and B. So, from this, we have derived or we have calculated this, that A is equal to 90, C, small c, that is 90 minus lambda e, that is the latitude of our station, D, that is equal to phi minus phi ss. Thus, the small b can be calculated as arc cos b cos lambda e. Arc cos, that is you have to find cos inverse in LC. Yes, and cos b and cos lambda e. And capital A, that is arc sine mod b divided by sine small b. Again, arc sine, that is nothing but sine inverse. Clear? Now, these are the various A positions, and through which these A positions we will define the azimuth angle. Clear? So from these positions, we have divided this into table 1, right? Where this figure shows these are the 4 conditions A, B, C, and D, which depends on the value of lambda E and B, or station latitude and B, right? So if both are negative, then the azimuth angle will be equal to capital A, which we have find in the last equations. If this lambda is negative but B is positive, then it will be a 360 minus C. If lambda E is positive but B is negative, then it will be a 180 minus C. And if both are positive, then it will be equal to 180 plus A. So from this table, we'll need to remember to calculate this azimuth angle. Clear? Now, what about to find the elevation angle and range? So first of all, to find the elevation angle, we need to find the range D. So applying the cosine rule for the plane triangle to the triangle of figure 3, right? The which we have seen the plane triangle of figure 3 in starting, right? In this we will apply a cosine rule. So first of all, we will find the D. So what it will be D? So D will be under root R square plus AGSO, that is radius of geostationary orbit, which is constant, minus 2R into AGSO into cos B. So first we need to find out this range D. And after finding this range D, we will find the elevation angle EL by giving again applying the sine rule, and we will find the elevation angle EL is equal to arc cos, that is cos inverse AGSO, that is radius of radius of or station geostationary orbit divided by D range into sine B, right? So from these equations which we have discussed in the previous slide as well as this slide, right, we will find out the azimuth angle and elevation angle, which are called as antenna look angles for the geostationary satellite, right? And these are the very important numericals from the exam point of view, right? The examples of this antenna look angles will be seen in the next session, right? So that's all for the today's session. In next session we will discuss two more topics, and as well as the examples related to this antenna look angles. Thank you.